I'm Grace Anstiff, and this is Girl Talk. Okay, so I've gotten lots of different kinds of questions in my DMs, and that kind of inspired me with this idea that I should just make a how-to series on feminine products, on just how to be a girl, especially if you are new to this, or maybe you've been having periods for a while, but you just want someone to tell you how to do it like you're in kindergarten. And so I completely get it. I'm here to teach you. If you don't have an older sister, if you don't have a mom that you can talk to about that, guess what? I'm here. I can answer all your TMI questions. They seriously don't bother me. Like, I'm going to go into cervical mucus. We're going to go into bleeding levels. We're going to go into pads. We're going to go into emergency things to do. It's going to be great. So, all that to say, this isn't Tampon. This is Garnu. I use completely organic products. They are just free of BPA and chlorine and all of that. I love Garnu. It literally means freedom in Nepali, which is pretty cool. Some of the proceeds go out to help sex trafficking survivors in Nepal, which is fantastic. But what I love the most about them is that they are completely free of toxins, and I have a subscription, so I never run out and I never have to worry about running out. And it's literally been the best thing to add to my bill is a subscription service for tampons, because we all know the panic of looking for a tampon or a pad and not having it when you need it. So, all that to say, Garnu tampons. I have a 10% off code in my show notes if you need it. But if you've never used a tampon, this mic is going to get in my way. If you've never used a tampon, this is what it looks like. You take it out. So it's got, let's see if I can do this right. There we go. It's got the little applicator. Some of them are built a little different, but here's the cotton. It's inside this little plastic applicator. You got this part in the back that it will move, and then there's this little string that goes with it. So essentially what you do is you stick this side up in your vaginal canal, go all the way up, and where you stop, you push it all the way up until the edge of your vaginal canal hits this little rim right here, and you'll be able to tell. If you have your fingers just kind of on here, or even like here as you push up, I usually keep mine just below the rim, so when my fingers touch my vaginal canal, then it hits and I know I'm there. But usually when you practice enough, you'll know. Then what you do is once it's in, I'll put it like this for orientation purposes. Once it's in, see if it'll stay zoomed in. You push up, you push on the back, kind of like a little syringe. So you push up and you wait until it pops. And so this one, it goes completely in and it goes pop, and you'll be able to probably hear it, but feel it too. And you'll definitely feel the pop. And then what you'll do is the vaginal canal will hold on to the cotton, and you'll take this bottom piece now. You don't want to hold on the string. Do not pull the string once it's in, because that will pull the whole thing out. You take the now one bottom at the bottom, and you take that, and you gently pull, and it will come out. And then this is what's left in your vaginal canal. So all that you should have in your vaginal canal is this. So you should be able to feel the string. You should be able to tug on it a little bit and not have it come out. And it should not hurt. It might be uncomfortable when you initially put it in, but it should not be hurting if it's in there. If it's like kind of crooked and it's in your vaginal canal, and if it's in your vaginal canal and it's kind of crooked, then that can make it uncomfortable and you might just have to pull out and try again. Be patient with yourself. It's going to be okay. The first time I was doing this, I was at a summer camp, and I was really wanting to go play in the pool. And it was really stressful because my camp counselor was trying to get me to try a tampon in for the first time, but I was stressed and I didn't know how to work it and it hurt, and so I ended up not going, and I was all freaked out, and I didn't use tampons for another like 3 or 4 years because I was just so freaked out by them and I didn't understand it, and it just hurt. But then one day I just got so tired of pads, so I looked at my mom and I said, okay, Mom, I don't care what I have to do. I want to learn how to do this. So what she did is she helped me out. She's such a girl's girl. She was so great. What she did was, before the tampon went in, obviously at the very beginning, she had me put KY jelly on the edge of the tampon holder. And what that is it's basically like lubricant, like sex lubricant. And I wasn't sexually active. I was like maybe 15 at the time, 15, 16. But I had this lubricant. I'm not really promoting this because it's not the cleanest one. It's just kind of the one that I found that I like, but it's worked really well. But I used a lot of this kind of thing. I also used Johnson & Johnson's when I was a little younger. But you just put a little bit of the KY jelly, you put it on your finger, and you just kind of put it on the end of the applicator, and that can help it too with getting into your vaginal canal. The good part about that is that when you're on your period, your vaginal canal will already be kind of lubricated because you're bleeding. So if you've been bleeding for a little bit, especially if you're heavier, usually everybody has a heavier day on the very first day, that's how mine typically are, then you want to get the tampon in. All that's to say, once the tampon is in and you have it secured, set a timer immediately, especially if you are new. I'm sure you and your mother and whoever else is giving you sex education has told you about the horrors of toxic shock syndrome, and that is essentially where your body has toxins then from having the blood in there for too long. It has this like foreign entity in there with this dried blood, and it's extremely rare, but it's still something to keep an eye out for. You should always know the symptoms of toxic shock syndrome. I'll list them on the screen, but it's extremely rare. I felt that like that was beaten into me as a young teen girl as what TSS was and the signs for it and how bad it was, but it kind of scared me out of using tampons, to be honest, for a little while too. But to be honest with you, it's super rare. And the packaging says, leaving it for 4 to 6 hours. Usually, depending on the size, like this one's pretty small. You can get ones that are a lot bigger or beefier than this, and that's where you do have to kind of keep an eye out for yourself because you can leave them in there longer. But I usually set a timer for about 4 hours if I'm on a usual day. My first day, if I'm bleeding really heavy, I usually set it for about 3. Personally, that's what I do. But if you pull it out and it's like maybe only half used or it seems to be pretty sparse, then you probably can leave it in a little longer next time, depending on where you are in your cycle. It's totally up to you. You'll find out a way that works for you and your body. I will say try not to use these on your last day of your period just because you're not going to be bleeding as much. The reason for that is because it will hurt more. It will not be as lubricated. Even if you put it in, it won't be as lubricated because you won't be shedding as much uterine lining. You won't have as much blood. So you'll just have like this dry cotton moving on the dry vaginal canals, and it puts you up to risk of, making little tears in your vaginal canal, and it's just uncomfortable. So just for the last day, just go with the panty liner, go with the pad. That's all I have to say about that. But yes, as soon as you put it in, set a timer for about 4 hours, at the most do 6 hours. Do not sleep in tampons overnight. I know some people do it. I don't recommend doing that. Mainly for the reason for risk of TSS, and also it's better for your body if after you pull this out, it just has a chance to flow naturally all night long. Get those really big ultra night pads. Garnu sells them too. Sometimes I put an extra one on the back, like I do one in the panty liner part of the underwear, but then I do one on like the butt side because sometimes I'll roll over in my sleep, and it's gross, but like the blood goes back, so it like ends up being on your back of your butt. So to prevent that and prevent staining of my underwear, I put the pad back there too. All that to say, those are the things that I do. I'm not saying that you have to do them, but those are things that help me. Other common questions I get are about sizes. Obviously, if you have a light flow, you want to use something like this. I usually use something like this on my second or third day. I have other tampons that are thicker, they're heavier. If you have a heavier flow, then use a thicker tampon. I don't believe that they increase menstrual cramps. I guess sometimes they can be that way for certain people. I would be more wary of what kind of chemicals are in your tampons if you're having really, really bad cramps. That can be contributing to that. I can say that I used Always, and I used Tampax for like most of my teen years, and I had such bad cramps. I had such bad period cramps. It was horrible. Like I was pretty much bedridden for 3 of the 5 days I was on my period. It was horrible. And I'm now down to 1 day of my period that I'm pretty much bedridden. So it's not great, but it's way better than what it used to be. And I attribute that to cycle syncing, which has been huge for me with period cramps, but also switching to organic products. I believe that like the next 2 months after I switched over to Garnu, it was crazy. Like my cramps they were so much lighter. And on the second and third days, they basically went away. Like it was there, but it was very manageable. It wasn't anything to sneeze or write home about. But I hope this helps. I hope this helped you understand, how tampons worked. I know this is a specific kind of tampon, but if you have any other questions, please drop them in the comments. Please shoot me an email. I'll drop my email below. And come visit me on Instagram. I'm Grace and Steph on Instagram. We talk about all sorts of things: menstrual health, spiritual health, just balancing out holistic living. But I'm here for the girls. I'm here for you guys. I'm here to answer all the TMI questions. So thank you for coming to Girl Talk, and I'll see you next time.